What's the good word, y'all? It's your boy DKB here. We are breaking down one of our final selections for the New York Jets in the 2024 NFL Draft class in the Toronto Argonauts Cornerback Qwan'tez Stiggers. And I absolutely love this guy. And it's not just my fondness for cornerbacks in general. And it had nothing to do with this story. It actually took me a minute to catch up on that. But just the tenacity that he's had to overcome a lot of the things, not having college football experience, getting a league canceled on him, then having to go to the CFL on his route to the NFL. It's been great. To keep the story simplistic before we dive into him, though, he's played football since at least high school. Upon getting ready to enter college, his father had a car accident. Unfortunately, that resulted in his passing. Rest in power to him. And he took some time away, mentally rebuild, get himself back on track. His mother at some point ended up promoting, getting him back onto the gridiron, and was able to get him into the fan-controlled football league. He balled out there. There was a connection on the coaching staff that got him a tryout for the Toronto Argonauts in the Canadian Football League, and he went and balled out there as well. Now, in terms of the man himself, 22 years young, at 5'11" and 203 pounds, he's not the prototypical corner by any means, but he brings so much athleticism to the position. And really, from everything I've been able to catch up with on tape and just following him pretty closely throughout this offseason, he's a fan favorite of mine. 100%. He's the only guy in the recent, 15 years I've really been looking at the team that's made me want to go out and get a jersey. And I'm pretty sure I'm going to at some point there. And he might be the only one from this draft class, as much as I love Fashanu. But outside of that, played football, baseball, and basketball in high school. Actually has some return experience there as well. So we'll see if that gets him on the field maybe a little earlier. As mentioned, he was in the Fan Control Football League, ended up being a finalist for the Defensive Player of the Year, and then upon getting to the Canadian Football League, which, let me backtrack, by the way, in the Fan Control Football League, he was able to go out there and grab himself 5 picks to help become a finalist for that award. In the Canadian Football League, he won the Most Outstanding Rookie Award. That hasn't been won by a defensive back in over 25 years. They also did us the pleasure, and the rest of the NFL, of essentially voiding his contract, allowing him to come in, go through all this stuff, because they could have easily said, no, we want to keep our guy, and it is what it is. But there's been kind of a nice exchange between players flowing from the CFL to the NFL. So this is just one of those things where it's kind of like a nondescript development league for us in a way, to a certain degree. But there's always more to the intrigue of Qwan'tez Stiggers the more and more that I dig. He's only the second player to enter the NFL without ever playing in the college ranks. Jordan Mailata was the first with the Eagles, and he came in via the NFL's International Pathway Program, so slightly different. But with the Argonauts, he racked up 53 tackles, another 5 interceptions. So if you're keeping track, you're talking about 10 interceptions over the span of a 2-year period. So there's obviously a lot of playmaking ability here. What he does most well, right? Flows well in space. Obviously has the playmaking ability. He's always around the ball, always around the player, and allows him to really play a lot of these 50-50 balls and a lot of the stuff that he can test as if he's the receiver himself. You see it show up consistently with his elite body control and ability to go out there and track the ball, can sink and redirect in zone with ease, and I think he has perfectly acceptable man coverage ability. He'll probably excel more in that zone capacity just because that's what he was asked to do between the Fan Control Football League and then the Canadian Football League, where, there's just a lot of space to roam with, so they don't really use press man coverage techniques and skills that much. Can erase the flats. He's going to challenge pretty much any and every underneath route when in zone coverage. Talking about his special teams ability, there's going to be some gunner potential there, and he's just a force coming downhill. I took a look at his RAS score, and I've seen 2 interesting call outs. The first one being, I believe he ranked 83rd out of over 1,100 cornerbacks since however long they've been ranking data, right? But I think it goes back, like 40, 50 something odd years. The other one was that he had a higher RAS score than first-round pick Terrion Arnold, which isn't everything, but just understand this man is a highly skilled and athletic player that's coming into the Jets. And it just seems like we got probably the biggest value in terms of turning a day 3 guy into a starter, much like we did with a Bryce Hall. But I would say this guy has even bigger upside. Now, there are going to be some downfalls. Adjustment to adjustment to NFL techniques, since he didn't get any of that, since he didn't appear in college, is going to be something that you want to see how quickly he can pick up on it. Also, minimal press experience as already covered, so don't expect a ton. But for what it's worth, again, I followed him pretty closely during the offseason. He balled out during the East-West Shrine Bowl. I would say that on most accounts, he was considered either the second, third, sometimes first, one of the top 3 cornerbacks to show up in that event. And there was guys like Renardo Green ahead of him in terms of being a safety, Adrian Taylor, Emerson. So definitely a lot of guys within the realm of where he got picked up, as well as guys that went a little further ahead of him. Consistency in footwork during man coverage, pretty much anything surrounding that. It's going to need some repetition. It's going to use some polish. Occasionally can be grabby if he gets beat on vertical routes, although he has plenty of recovery speed for it. So just something you want to try to, void out of his game completely. Tackling fundamentals aren't always sound, but I think that's a criticism that you generally hear from any cornerback that's coming into the league, outside of some of those rare guys. And then his length is going to impact his ability to be able to take on blocks and such in the run game, engage certain wide receivers that are coming in. Think like a Keon Coleman, for example, with the Bills. In whatever situation, he ended up being matched up with them in press coverage. But ultimately, I love this guy. He is one of the only guys I've really ever considered wanting to buy a jersey for, and I'm pretty confident that's going to happen here soon. Since I've really been a fan of this team. Obviously, I love a lot of the older guys. I got, Darrell Reeves and Curtis Martin jerseys and such. But, in the last 10, for sure, Qwan'tez Stiggers is that guy for me. But all in all, let me know what you guys think. I honestly think that he could be a DJ Reed replacement as soon as next year. And that's no shade to DJ Reed or anything he's done, because I think at worst he's been a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. He's definitely been snubbed on many accolades since being with the Jets. But if he does pan out and takes that DJ Reed-like arc or step, this is a guy that also isn't limited to just the right side of the field. So if the rumors around Sauce Gardner were true that he's going to travel the number 1 receiver this year, and ideally going into the future, then you have another guy that you can mix and match all around the field without having to pigeonhole him into one spot per se. But again, let me know what you guys think about our standout CFL player here, and I'll catch you guys again. Peace.